What's up, everybody? I'm back to do a Year in Wrestling video. This video you're watching is the Year in Wrestling 2004 Part 1, where I'll be talking about January 2004 until after WrestleMania 20, and then I'll be done. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I have a lot to talk about. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, that's fine. You don't have to. Now I'm going to start it off talking about this show right here. I don't know if it happened before Royal Rumble, but I think it did. I have this DVD. It's Major League Wrestling. Happened in January 04, the Reload Tour. Here it is. As I said, if you never heard of Major League Wrestling, just type their name in YouTube and some of their videos will probably pop up. I believe they're around late 2002 until 2004, and then they went away and went out of business, I guess. So the date was January 10th. That's when it happened. The main matches on here were, of course, you can see Terry Funk, Steve Corino. They wrestled in a barbed wire match for the MLW World title. Again, they had a barbed wire match in 03, they had another in 04. Sanjay Dutt was on this show. Puma, Jack Evans, Los Maximos, Norman Smiley was on here. Who else? Chris Hero, Stampede Bulldogs, who were David Hart Smith, British Bulldog son, and Tyson Kidd. Jerry Lynn was on here. Teddy Hart, who Teddy Hart is the nephew of Bret Hart. I don't know what happened to the guy. I don't think he's in wrestling anymore. Maybe he's in Japan. I don't know. Raven took on Vampiro. And then C.W. Anderson and Simon Diamond were the tag champs. They were also on this show. It's a pretty good show, Major League Wrestling Reload Tour. That happened January 10th. I'll share another DVD I have from 2004. I don't know what month it came out, but it was from 04, so I'll show it. It was basically an indie company. They weren't around very long. I believe, I don't know who was running things, who owned them. They were called 3PW. I believe they were maybe run by Todd Gordon, and Jasmine St. Clair, I think, owned some of it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought she did, or I heard that she did. And if you never heard of Jasmine St. Clair, just look her up, and I'm sure a lot of her movies will pop up on your computer. So here it is, Major League Wrestling, The Right to Remain Violent, DVD. Al Snow's on here, on this show. AJ Styles, Sabu, Raven, Sandman. It's basically an indie show with a lot of old ECW stars. And AJ Styles was a part of TNA. He was used on this show. I don't know why TNA let AJ Styles go and work an indie show, but they used to let him work in Ring of Honor in 03 and 04 and in 3PW and probably other places. So AJ Styles on here took on Joey Matthews, who, for you newer fans, Joey Matthews was in The Authority, known as Joey Mercury. Jack Victory's on here. He sucked. Sabu took on Al Snow. Pretty good match. And then Sabu took on Al Snow in another bonus match on this DVD from 10 years ago, from 1994. Who else? Raven took on Sandman in a TLC match for the for the 3PW World title. Sandman, Raven, they had a feud in ECW in 96, and it continued in 04. Pitbull Gary Wolf was on this show. He sucked. And he got kicked out of ECW, or fired, in late 97 because him and his partner, part of the Pitbulls, they were actually dealing marijuana, and they were pot dealers. At least that's the rumors I heard. That's why they were fired, because they were about to get busted or something happened. But anyways, the Pitbulls were pot dealers back when they were in ECW. I don't know why they had to deal pot when they were probably making a pretty decent living wrestling. But whatever. The Pitbulls were probably potheads also, but they were also dealing. That's pretty insane, but whatever. So, decent show. If you don't never heard of them, 3PW, look them up. They got all their old DVDs on Amazon. You could find them used and really cheap if you want to check out their product, or type in 3PW in YouTube and maybe some of their old matches will pop up. In my opinion, they're just an indie promotion that put out DVDs, and they use a lot of old ECW talents and some new talents. Now I'm going to talk about WWE Royal Rumble 2004. Before I talk about Royal Rumble 2004, I'm going to read you all the champions from Ring of Honor that started the year off as champions. If I can find this list here. So to kick off 04, the NWA TNA World Champion was AJ Styles. Was still the NWA World Champion. He won it in June of AJ Styles won it in October 03. And he was still champion in 04 until May 04, where he lost it to Jeff Jarrett inside a steel cage on an NWA TNA pay-per-view. So AJ kicked off 04 as NWA World Champion. NWA Tag Team Champions in TNA were, in 2004, to kick off the year, the champs were, that ain't right, let's see, just looking at the wrong year. So they won the titles in November 03. So the tag champs at the time to kick off 04 were BG James, who was the Road Dogg Jesse James, and Ron Killings, who is now R-Truth. And they both work in WWE now. Road Dogg backstage, I believe, is an agent. NWA, did they have the X? I believe they had the X Division title. If I can find who had it in 04. Kickoff 04, the X Division champion was Chris Sabin. He defeated Michael Shane. So Chris Sabin was the X Division champion. Now on to Ring of Honor. The Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion was Samoa Joe. He held it for a very long time, and he was still NWA, not NWA. Samoa Joe was still Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know why I said NWA. I got confused. Samoa Joe defeated Xavier in March 03 and held on to the title until December 26th, 04. So Samoa Joe was Ring of Honor World Champion still in 04 to kick off the year. NWA, ROH, not NWA, tag champs were the team of Dixie and Izzy. I think they're part of the tag team group Special K. But I'm not really familiar with Dixie and Izzy. But I think they're part of Special K in Ring of Honor back in 04. In Ring of Honor, didn't have a TV title until 2010, so I'm not going to read their TV title. WWE champions now that I'll list. The World Heavyweight Champion in 04 was Triple H. Still, the WWE Champion to kick off 04 was still Brock Lesnar. Intercontinental Champion was, let's see here. Intercontinental Champion was Rob Van Dam, I believe. Or no, Randy Orton. Randy Orton defeated Rob Van Dam in December 03. Tag Team Champions were in the WWE to kick off 04. Tag Champs were the Dudley Boy. No. It was Tag Champs were Batista and Ric Flair. Evolution were the Tag Champions. And going into 2004, now I'm going to talk about the Royal Rumble pay-per-view from 2004. I just gave you all the champions from TNA, Ring of Honor, WWE that were the champions to kick off the year. Now I'm going to talk about Royal Rumble in the matches that were good and entertaining to me. I'm not going to read every single match on every pay-per-view. So, Royal Rumble was from Philadelphia on January 25th. Raw Tag Team Champions Batista, Ric Flair defeated the Dudley Boys in a tables match. That was pretty entertaining. Dudley's got a great pop because they're in Philadelphia, the home of ECW, where the Dudleys made a name for themselves. Cruiserweight Champion Rey Mysterio defeated Jamie Noble. Pretty good match. Eddie Guerrero defeated Chavo Guerrero Jr. in a pretty entertaining match. SmackDown WWE Champion Brock Lesnar defeated Bob Holly. And I don't know why Hardcore Holly even got a title shot. I believe they played a video from a couple months ago from 03 where Brock Lesnar on SmackDown, I believe, legitimately broke Hardcore Holly's neck. He powerbombed him wrong or something. Bob Holly landed on his neck and broke his neck. So Brock broke his neck. I'm sure it was an accident, but he still broke his neck. So that's why Bob Holly came back before Royal Rumble and attacked Brock and got his title shot, but basically lost and got destroyed. Because we all knew Brock wasn't going to lose the title to Hardcore Holly. WWE Raw World Heavyweight Champion Triple H wrestled to a no contest with Shawn Michaels in a last man standing match when neither man could get to his feet before the count of 10. Decent finish, a very good match between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They had great chemistry in the ring together. Both guys bled a lot. They bled a lot. Shawn Michaels bled real much, probably more than Triple H. The ring was covered in a lot of blood. Great match, great last man standing match. I miss those days when two guys could bleed a lot to end their feud, but blood is basically over in WWE, and we can do nothing about it. So that was a great last man standing match at the Rumble. I really enjoyed it. I wanted Shawn Michaels to win, but he didn't. Now the Royal Rumble match. Chris Benoit was screwed around for a long time by SmackDown. General Manager Paul Heyman was screwing around, trying to screw Chris Benoit. Didn't even want to put him in the Rumble. He had to fight to get in the Rumble. Chris Benoit, I believe, was number 1 in the Royal Rumble. He was either 1 or 2. I don't really remember. But I think he's number 1. Anyways, Chris Benoit survives and lasts and eliminates the Big Show to win the 2004 Royal Rumble match. Congrats to Chris Benoit. He worked his ass off for all those years to win the Royal Rumble and go to WrestleMania and get a title shot and be in the main event at a WrestleMania. Chris Benoit deserved it. I was really happy he won because I was a fan of his. But then the a-hole had to snap and kill himself and kill his family. But at the time, in 2004, I was really happy Chris Benoit won the Royal Rumble, and it was a great Rumble match and a great showing by Chris Benoit. He busted his ass, and he lasted a long-ass time in the Rumble. Other guys that were in the Rumble, top stars, Kurt Angle was in it. Goldberg was in his only Royal Rumble ever. I believe Randy Orton was in it. Mick Foley came out and got involved, and I believe clotheslined Randy Orton over the top and eliminated Randy Orton, because at the end of 03, Randy Orton challenged Mick Foley and spit in his face, and Mick Foley would not fight Randy. So then, after basically Orton humiliated Mick Foley, then Mick Foley returns at the Rumble and eliminates Randy Orton to start their feud off. Going into WrestleMania 20, where Mick Foley would get help and call an old friend in The Rock, and The Rock would return to work WrestleMania 20 and reunite The Rock and Sock connection. That was great to see. And then after the Royal Rumble, I believe this was in March, before WrestleMania. I'm going a little bit ahead before I talk about No Way Out. This was in March on Raw. Mick Foley was brutally attacked by Evolution, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, Dave Bautista. They beat the hell out of Mick Foley in the ring. Randy Orton was punching him in his eye, legitimately, real punches right in his eye. And then the next week on Raw, Mick Foley did an interview, sit-down interview with JR. His eye was really black. He had a really bad black eye, and it was all bruised up because from Randy Orton punching him in the eye for real. I mean, legitimate hard punches to the head and to the face. I think that episode of Raw is now on the WWE Network if you want to watch it. It's a great episode where Evolution beats the hell out of Mick Foley in the ring, and Randy Orton punches him for real a couple times to bust his eye up and make it black and blue. Mick Foley agreed. I'm sure he came up with the idea and told Randy Orton to hit him over and over as hard as he could to make it look real. That's pretty insane, and I'm sure it hurt a lot, but Mick Foley was insane like that. He wanted people to do stuff to him so the fans would believe that it looked real and legitimate. And it was pretty damn real because his eye was all black and blue. There was nothing fake about that. And a lot of stuff Mick Foley did in his career, there was nothing fake about it. He got hurt a lot of times and really bad. So, after that sit-down interview with Mick Foley, it was a great interview, great promo by Mick Foley. He was talking to JR saying, I sat there and got beat up for 7 minutes and nobody came out to help me. Not one person, nobody. And he was pretty angry about that. And then I think the next week or 2 weeks before WrestleMania 20, The Rock appeared on Raw, ran down to the ring after Mick Foley said, I called an old friend and he's here. And then they hit the ring and beat the crap out of Evolution, Orton, Flair, Batista, to set up their WrestleMania 20 match. So, that happened in March on Raw. And now I'm going to talk about No Way Out. 04, not 03. Took place from San Francisco, California on February 15th, 04. SmackDown WWE Tag Team Champions Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty defeated the Basham Brothers and Shaniqua. Can't even pronounce her name good, and she sucked, and she should have never been in wrestling, but she was. The Bashams and Shaniqua lose in a handicap match when Rikishi pinned Shaniqua. And Shaniqua was ugly as hell. She looked like a man, and she had no business In my opinion, she had no business being in pro wrestling. And obviously, she didn't last. She probably had a bad attitude backstage. She thought she was better than what she was. She thought she was a shit. She thought she was great. And she wasn't. She didn't pay her dues. She wasn't tough enough. I believe Tough Enough 2. And what was her name? Linda Miles. And she became Shaniqua. She sucked. She absolutely sucked as a manager, and she sucked as a wrestler. Glad she's out of the business. Because she fucking sucked. Bashams weren't a bad tag team. The Basham brothers were a pretty decent tag team, but they didn't stay around that long. I believe they were around for maybe 2 or 3 years. Anyways. Other matches I enjoyed at No Way Out. Benjamin and Charlie Haas defeated the team of the APA. That ain't worth talking about. Chavo Guerrero Jr. defeated Cruiserweight Champion Rey Mysterio Jr. to win the Cruiserweight title. That was good. Kurt Angle defeated Big Show and John Cena in a triple threat. That was good. Eddie Guerrero, the main event. Eddie Guerrero on SmackDown. They had a SmackDown 15, I believe it was 15 men or 10 men SmackDown Royal Rumble match. The winner of this SmackDown Royal Rumble match would go to get a WWE title shot at No Way Out. Or WrestleMania or No Way Out. Anyways, they got their title shot at No Way Out. Eddie Guerrero won the SmackDown Royal Rumble. I think is 15 men in it. Eddie Guerrero defeats Brock Lesnar in the main event at No Way Out 2004. It was shocking. It was a great victory. It was emotional. The fans loved it. There were a ton of Eddie Guerrero fans at No Way Out 04. And a lot of fans, I'm sure, watching it were shocked. I watched it live on pay-per-view. I was shocked. I was happy. I was surprised. And Eddie Guerrero deserved it. He deserved to be WWE champion. He was that damn good. So I was very, very happy for Eddie Guerrero that he became WWE champion in his career before he passed away. Because he busted his ass before WWE, and when he was in WWE, he was released over drug issues and addiction issues. I believe he went to rehab. WWE paid for it. He went to rehab, then he came back, and he was better than ever. And WWE, I believe, gave him a second chance, maybe third chance, but they kept trying, and finally, Eddie beat his addictions and became WWE champion. He should have held on to it longer. He lost it at Great American Bash 04 in, I believe, June or July. We all know Eddie lost it to JBL. He should have held on to it longer, but whatever. So, Eddie defeating Brock, it was shocking, it was surprising, but it was great. The fans popped. They loved it. I marked out because I'm a big Eddie Guerrero fan. Still, I'm a fan of his even with him being gone. I still watch his matches and enjoy them. But during this, I believe the ref got knocked out, as the refs usually do get knocked out at every pay-per-view just about. Or they did in the past. Ref gets knocked out. Goldberg, I believe, he had a ticket to No Way Out. I believe he's in the first or second row. He got a ticket to go to No Way Out. I believe Stone Cold gave it to him. Stone Cold was, I believe, Cold GM or the sheriff of Raw or something like that. Anyways, Goldberg got a ticket, jumped in the ring, speared Brock Lesnar, and then Eddie goes up to the top, hits a frog splash, wins the title. So that set up Goldberg versus Brock for WrestleMania 20. After No Way Out in March on a Raw, I believe it was March 16th maybe or something. I just watched it last week on the network. It was a Raw right before WrestleMania 20, like 2 or 3 weeks before. Anyways, Vince McMahon came out. Main event was supposed to be Vince McMahon versus Eric Bischoff in the main event. Vince got on the mic and said, I'm making some big announcements at WrestleMania. Bill Goldberg will take on Brock Lesnar. Crowd kind of popped, but they weren't that excited about it. And then Vince gets interrupted by Stacy Keibler and Miss Jackie. They get in the ring and they demand they want a match at WrestleMania. So they want to be involved in WrestleMania. And then they do a dance around Vince, and then he agrees that they are the hottest divas in WWE. And then he says, you got it, you got your match at WrestleMania. So Stacy and Miss Jackie were going to take on SmackDown, Sable, and Tori, I believe, in an evening gown match. And it was pretty awful. It was not a good match. Best part about it was seeing Stacy in her bra and panties and Tori in her bra and panties, because they were the two hottest in the match. Miss Jackie was, she was decent looking, but not that hot. And if you don't know who Miss Jackie is, she also won Tough Enough 2. Her name was Jackie Gata. She's out of the business now. I don't know where she is. I know she had a kid with Charlie Haas, and they were married a couple years ago. And then Vince goes back to talking. Stacy and Miss Jackie leave the ring, and then Kane comes out and interrupts Vince. Kane starts yelling. He thought his brother was gone and that he buried him alive at Survivor Series 2003, while Kane is screaming at Vince and wants a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 20, and then Vince gives him the match, Undertaker Kane, he books it right there. So Kane leaves. And then Vince was, I guess, waiting for Eric Bischoff to come out, still in the ring, and then Stone Cold's music hits. He comes out on his four-wheeler. He comes out on that four-wheeler. He would drive around the ring. He parks it, gets in the ring, and I believe says, son, I'm going to be special referee for Goldberg or Brock. And Vince agrees. And then Vince tells Stone Cold, if you want to be special ref, or Stone Cold says to Vince, one of them said to each other, why don't you just stay in the ring? And I believe Vince said, why don't you just stay in the ring and we'll have you be the special ref for me to kick Eric Bischoff's ass. And Stone Cold agrees to stay in the ring and be the special guest referee. Then Eric Bischoff comes out. And the match starts off with them facing off. Bischoff, McMahon, one-on-one. It's pretty entertaining because all those years they were running WWE or WWF against WCW in the Monday Night Wars. Now we got to see Bischoff and Vince face-to-face in a ring in a match. It wasn't a good match. It wasn't a long match. But they were still in the ring together. Vince started off kneeing. Bischoff kept kneeing him over and over in the gut. And then took him, I believe, to the outside and was choking him, whatever. Stone Cold's in the ring all alone. Then Brock Lesnar runs in the ring. Picks up Stone Cold, F5s him, leaves. And then I believe that was the end of Raw. So we didn't get a winner in Bischoff versus McMahon. But it was a good Raw. It's on the network from March 04. Bischoff versus McMahon. It's a pretty damn good Raw. Now I'm going to talk about WrestleMania 20. See if I talked about everything I wanted to. Also, before WrestleMania, I believe this was sometime in 2004, CM Punk took on Samoa Joe again. They had a third match in their series of matches for the Ring of Honor World title. It was a great match. This match in 04 might have went 1 hour long. I don't remember, but it was a great match. And Punk and Joe had a great series of matches in 03 and 04. So that happened before WrestleMania, I think. I don't really know when it happened in 04. Punk versus Joe, but it did happen. And to talk about some wrestling deaths that I did not get to talk about in my 2003 videos because I forgot to. But I want to talk about them now and give them pay my respects. Road Warrior Hawk. He passed away in 2003. That was sad, and he's gone. Also in 2003, Mr. Perfect died. That's also sad. Also in 2003, Big Boss Man passed away. That's also sad. I don't know what, I think Road Warrior Hawk passed away from a heart attack or something like that. Mr. Perfect passed away, I believe, from an overdose, and he had pills around his hotel room, whatever. They found him passed out on the floor. I think it was a drug overdose or something like that. And I think they also found cocaine in Mr. Perfect's system, and pills, painkillers, whatever, stuff like that. Big Boss Man, I'm not sure how he passed away. It probably was a heart attack. But all three guys, WWF legends, and it's sad they're no longer with us. Rest in peace, all three of you. Road Warrior Hawk, Mr. Perfect, Big Boss Man, all three of you, rest in peace. And if there is an afterlife, I hope to meet all three of you someday and just say thank you for the entertainment that you've given me. Now on to WrestleMania 20, which happened in Madison Square Garden, the home of WrestleMania 1 and WrestleMania 10. WrestleMania 20 returned to MSG. Here we go. First match was entertaining. This was when John Cena was still watchable and pretty entertaining. His Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick, to me, was pretty entertaining. He was challenging the Big Show for the U.S. title. John Cena defeated the Big Show, picked him up, F5'd him. That was damn impressive. Crowd popped. Cena wins the U.S. title. Good start to WrestleMania 20. Great booking and great way to push the young upstart John Cena to get him over. And a year later, WrestleMania 21, John Cena would win his first WWE Championship and World title. Raw World Tag Team titles were on the line. Booker T and Rob Van Dam defended and defeated the team of Mark Jindrak and Christian. Mark Jindrak and Lance Cade, I believe, or Garrett Cade, whatever his name is. And they defeated the Dudleys, and they defeated Rob Conway and Rene Dupree in a fatal four-way match where RVD pinned Rob Conway. So RVD and Booker T, as I said, they retained at WrestleMania 20. Christian and Chris Jericho, this was an entertaining match. Went one-on-one, and Christian defeated Jericho. And then Trish Stratus, at the time, was acting like she really liked Jericho. And Trish, basically on TV, was involved in a storyline with Jericho where she really liked him and was like basically almost dating him. So Trish was at the side at ringside with Jericho by his side. Trish gets in the ring, slaps. Jericho turns heel. And after Christian wins, they go up on the stage and make out. And then Trish is with Christian. She looks back at Jericho, gives him a dirty smile. That was great. It was great to see Trish turn heel. I always enjoyed Trish Stratus as a heel. I thought she was a better heel than face. So after that, we had now the SmackDown tag, or not the Smack. Well, after that, we had the 6-man tag or handicap tag match. Evolution, Ric Flair, Randy Orton, and Batista defeated the team of The Rock and Sock Connection, Mick Foley and The Rock. As I said, in a handicap match, and Randy Orton defeated and pinned Mick Foley for the winning pinfall. During this match, I believe Ric Flair, there were rumors, at least that I read, that Ric Flair had a neck injury and was pretty hurt, but he still competed. He took backdrops. Got caught on the top rope and thrown off it in that spot where that always happened to Ric Flair, where you would climb up to the top and it would never, ever, ever work out for Ric Flair. He would always get caught and then thrown off the top. He must have loved doing that spot because he did it probably 1,000 times or more. So Evolution defeats Mick Foley and The Rock. That was the right call to put over the young Randy Orton and Batista, to push them and have them defeat two WWE legends, and Mick Foley and The Rock. And then The Rock would go away for a real long time. After WrestleMania 20, The Rock would go back to Hollywood to make more movies. I don't blame him. Doing movies is way easier than being on the road with WWE. It just is. You don't got to do much work at all, really, to be in movies. You just got to sit on the set for 12 or 16 hours and not take any bumps and get paid millions of dollars. So if I was in wrestling for 10 years or longer, I would probably leave too to go do movies, because you get paid more and you don't got to take any more bumps to beat up your body. So Rock goes away after WrestleMania 20, after coming in just to work WrestleMania 20. And he wouldn't come back and work another WrestleMania until WrestleMania 27, when he was a host of WrestleMania. Up next, we had Tori and Sable from SmackDown. They were on the SmackDown brand, defeat Jackie Gata and Stacy Keibler in an evening gown match. Nobody cared about it. Only thing guys probably cared about is seeing Stacy in her bra and panties. That was pretty hot. Cruiserweight champion Chavo Guerrero Jr. won a 10-man Cruiserweight gauntlet match. This was pretty entertaining and pretty good. You had 10 Cruiserweights in it, plus Chavo Guerrero. And Rey Mysterio was in it. Ultimo Dragon was in it, from WCW. Billy Kidman was in it. I believe Shannon Moore was in it also. A lot of people were in the Cruiserweight 10-man gauntlet. Rey Mysterio Jr. was in it. I believe he's dressed up as the Flash. Or he looked like the Flash. Anyways, Chavo defeats and pins Rey Mysterio to win the match and retain the Cruiserweight title. Bill Goldberg, here we go now. Goldberg took on Brock, which this match was not good. It was two big, strong guys, power wrestlers, basically not doing much of anything. And nothing they did in the match was entertaining. And you could tell by Brock Lesnar, he didn't want to be there at all. He said on the Stone Cold podcast, when he was flipping off the cameras at WrestleMania 20, that was not to the fans. He was doing this to Vince because he was fed up, he was pissed off, he was angry, he was burnt out. He wanted to be gone from WWE. He was fed up, he was sick of being on the road, I believe. And he just had it with WWE and Vince, and he didn't want to be there. So he was angry. So that probably made the match suck, because Brock did not want to be there. And Goldberg also probably did not want to be there. I've read a lot of stuff where Goldberg was not happy at all with his WWE run in 03 and 04. He wasn't happy with how what happened during his run and how he was treated and booked, whatever. That doesn't matter anymore. That was 11 years ago, 12 years ago, WrestleMania 20. But anyways, Goldberg probably didn't want to be there. Brock didn't want to be there. Obviously, both guys worked lazy and slow, and the match just did not work. The match fucking sucked. And I'm sure if they would have tried, and if they both wanted to be there, they probably would have had a decent, entertaining match. But it wasn't entertaining. They kept locking up, pushing each other back and forth for like 10 minutes. I don't know what the fuck was going on. It was odd. When I was watching it, I was getting angry. It's like, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they locking up so long? But they did. And the match was a fucking nightmare. Anyways, I believe Goldberg speared Lesnar, jackhammered him, and I believe Goldberg won, I think. Yes, Bill Goldberg defeated Brock Lesnar, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was a special guest referee. And then after the match, after the New York fans and the WWE fans, and they're pretty damn smart fans in New York City, smart wrestling fans, they knew that Brock was leaving the company. Before the match started, everybody knew, that read the internet, that knew rumors, or knew they were true, that Brock was leaving the company. So the New York City fans, the smart fans that they are, I know a lot of fans from New York I talk to on Twitter. They're great wrestling fans in New York, in the East Coast area. Anyways, they're chanting to Lesnar, you sold out, you sold out, you sold out. And then I believe they started chanting, hey, 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 goodbye to Lesnar and Goldberg. They didn't want to see him there. And I believe a lot of fans also knew that Goldberg's contract was up. After WrestleMania 20, Goldberg was basically leaving and not re-signing. So the fans knew Brock and Goldberg were both leaving, so they basically booed them out of the building. And deservingly so. They deserved to be booed out of the building. Because the match sucked and they were both leaving the fans and leaving WWE. I was pretty pissed when I read Brock wanted to leave and he wanted to try out for the Minnesota Vikings to go to the NFL or try to get in the NFL. And Brock he's a one-of-a-kind athlete for sure. We'll never see another Brock Lesnar in pro wrestling again, I believe. He's just a one-of-a-kind super athlete. So he probably could have been in the NFL. If he tried his hardest in training camp, he probably could have made the NFL roster. But he was cut by the Vikings, and so he never played an official game for the Vikings in the regular season. I believe he played in preseason, but that was it. Or in 1 or 2 preseason games, and the Vikings cut Brock Lesnar. If he would have tried 100%, he probably could have made the team. But I don't think Brock really had any passion to be in the NFL. It wasn't his dream, and anyways, he's making way better money in the WWE now than if he would have been a football player. So, Brock wants to leave. He leaves, tries out for the Vikings, doesn't get on the team. And then a couple years later, 2004, I think, or maybe 2005. Let me look it up. When Brock won the New Japan IWGP World Title, heavyweight title, Brock won it in 2005, December 8th, 2005, Brock Lesnar went to Japan. He might have done it for money, I don't know. But New Japan called him, so Brock went to Japan and won the IWGP Heavyweight title on October 8th, 2005. So he was back in wrestling for a couple months in Japan. Or I believe he wrestled 2 or 3 matches in Japan, and then he was done again. And then he, of course, tried his MMA career and did that. And then amazingly, he went to UFC and became a heavyweight champion. Because again, Brock is a super athlete. You can not like the guy, you can hate him, you can dislike him, you can call him every name in the book. But the bottom line is Brock Lesnar is a super athlete and a one-of-a-kind talent, period. And if you don't like that, too bad. That's the truth. We'll never see another Brock Lesnar again in WWE. At least I don't think I'll see another super athlete like Brock in my lifetime. So after that, Goldberg versus Brock mess at WrestleMania. We had the SmackDown tag titles defended. Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty defeated and retained their tag titles, defeating the Basham Brothers, Benjamin and Charlie Haas, and the APA in another Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the tag titles. Raw had won earlier. Women's Championship on the line. Victoria defeated Molly Holly. And I believe Molly Holly was a heel in this match. So she lost. And the stipulation was if Molly Holly lost, she must have her head shaved. So she did have her head shaved. SmackDown WWE Champion Eddie Guerrero defended against Kurt Angle. They had a damn good match. It was entertaining as hell. And Eddie Guerrero retained by holding the bottom rope after he rolled Kurt Angle up in a small package. And Eddie grabbed the rope and defeated Kurt Angle. But whatever. Anyways, to retain, lie, cheat, steal, it doesn't matter. Eddie Guerrero retained and defended the title successfully at a WrestleMania. Then, or before the main event, I believe Eddie Guerrero was standing backstage behind Chris Benoit, and Benoit turned around. In a backstage segment, Eddie had his WWE Championship on his shoulder, and then he said to Chris, he talked to him and said, I know you can do it, just go out there and do it. And then they hugged, and then Chris Benoit was getting pumped up, fired up for the match, and then he went out to the ring. The main event was for the Raw World Heavyweight Championship, Triple H defending against Shawn Michaels, who was added to the triple threat match, and Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit defeats Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I was really happy. As I said, I was a big Chris Benoit fan, so when he won the title, I got emotional. I almost cried. And then I got emotional again. At the end of the match, Chris Benoit holding up the World Heavyweight Championship, confetti coming down. Great end to a WrestleMania. It's a damn shame that Chris Benoit did what he did and became a murderer and did what he did, because that was a great WrestleMania moment. But basically that is erased. WWE will never mention it again or mention his name ever again. But I'm sure that WrestleMania moment is still on the network, and they didn't cut out Chris Benoit winning the title. I doubt they would, but whatever. It was a great WrestleMania moment, but again, it will never be mentioned on WWE TV ever again because of the stupid fucking disgusting act that Chris Benoit did in 2007 or 6, I believe. 2006 he did it. So Benoit turns around in the ring, confetti coming down, crowd going crazy because there are big marks for Chris Benoit, and everybody wanted to see him win the big one to see if he could do it. Turns around, Eddie standing in the ring with the WWE title on his shoulder. Eddie starts clapping. Eddie's emotional because him and Chris Benoit are best friends. Then they hug in the middle of the ring. Chris Benoit breaks down to crying. Eddie's crying. It was a great, great moment. As I said, I got emotional because I was happy as hell for Chris Benoit that he accomplished one of his dreams. He was in wrestling for 18 years. 18 fucking years before he won a world title or a WWE championship. He did win the WCW world title at Sold Out 2000, but then he left and basically gave it up to go to WWE. So WrestleMania 20 ended in a bang. Great WrestleMania moment, but again, it's pretty tarnished because of what Chris Benoit did. This ends my Year in Wrestling 2004 Part 1 video. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now, everybody.